Right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Now, what we're doing here is I'm setting out for all the joist work on this little job here for a shed. So you've seen on some short videos that the roof and everything has been taken away, everything's gone, and then we've set up some brickwork. So I've double skinned it just so there's more bearing for the joist to sit on. So what I've allowed for is a 9-inch wall on the outside and the dividing wall in the middle, just to take the span of the joists, because I'm using some 7x2 timbers just so it gets more than the clear span than what they need. If you go on to load bearing walls or just a clear span for any joists in the UK for the British UK standards, I think for a 7x2 it's something like clear span of 2.77 meters, so that's more than enough for this floor. So what I've done is their brickies are come in and built the brickwork for me. Then I've laid a 9-inch plate on top with some DPM underneath that. I'll show you this all in a minute. Then I've resin and anchor bolted it to the brickwork. Okay, got it lovely and level using a 360-degree laser level with a receiver, so you know it's perfectly level. Gone round, wedged up where it all needed to go in some little low spots. Then after that, put up a ring beam, which is this upright timber. You may be able to see it in the distance. Get it all lovely and square from corner to corner. Then set up my datum, which is this one at the back. So put a string line up, get it lovely and level and straight. Then get this one down here where the joists are buttoned up to, lovely and straight. Then get my template, my first joist in there, so you know that they will be all the same size. Then all you got to do then, guys, is go over to where you're cutting your joists, cut them all exactly the same, butt them in up against the ring beam, fix them. Then you can get them lovely and straight in the middle with your noggins afterwards, and then that's it. Don't try to overcomplicate it for yourself. Now when you're setting out your joists, try not and use your tape measure all the time for setting stuff out. What I was taught at college is that you use a rod, just an offcut piece of timber, piece of batten, whatever you want to use, and mark out all your centers on that. So what I've used is a bit of 4x1, which is over the back. It's soaking wet now, so you won't be able to see the gauge lines on there. But all I did, as soon as I got the plate lovely and square, I put that directly on top of the joists. I'll take you there so you can see it. Okay, on top of the plate. Then mark them out from the end, all my 400 centers, because my floor covering works out metrically to 400mm centers. I could have done it 600 if I wanted to, but I always like to go 400. And then these bits here would just be picking up the floor, some little noggins coming off the plate into that last joist, which is there. Otherwise I won't be able to pick up the floor, and I like to have everything picked up. Okay, so my joist stack is over there. All I've got to do now is cut them all, then fit them. All right, guys, I'm probably going to set you up in a time lapse, get you underneath the gazebo because the weather's not on my side today. Set you up in a time lapse, cut them all, and then fit them. Right now, guys, what I'm doing is just getting all the joists in nice and straight. You've seen the gauge lines on the plate. So all I'm doing now is coming through, using my combi square, getting the bottom fixed first in at the top part of the ring, or the bottom part of the ring beam, and then just using the combi square and setting it in there so it's a lovely straight joint. So if we do want to insulate this floor, everything stays nice and true. Don't try and get everything all twisted. Like if I show you this joist down here, because I haven't straightened it up yet, you can see it's got a huge twist in it. So what we've got to do is get the two ends nice and straight as we possibly can. Then once I've worked out how thick the main external stud work is in relation to where the chipboards go in, then we can work out to where the noggins are going to go for the pickups for the chipboard, and then we can just push push it to where we want it to go, guys. Okay, so I'm just doing this all the way through this run, then go down the other end, do the same on the opposite end, and just keep working my way through, making sure the joists are staying nice and flat. And then the next step after that, once that's done, noggins, like I just said, get rid of the gazebo. Once the noggins are in, get rid of all the stuff that's in between the joists at the moment, like some bricks, some off-cut bits of timber, and then we can start setting up where the external walls are going, get rid of the gazebo, and start chucking on the sheets, which will be nice, and it's a nice solid platform to work off. I'm using, it's called Cable Shield, so it's a water resistant chipboard. It's 22mm thick. You can put them on 600mm joists, but I always, like I said previously, I always like to go 400mm. And yeah, and these joists work out to those centres because they're 2.4 metre chipboard sheets. And I'm going to be using this D4 glue, some expanding foam glue, which is over there. And we've got some chipboard Spax screws as well. So these are specifically designed for chipboard flooring, okay? Because what they've got on there, if I can grab one out, so I'm trying to do this one-handed. I can grab one out for you so you can see it. You can see it's got a space between the two threads, okay? So it's designed to pull in, keep it there, and then if there's any movement in there, I'd assume it can just move between that, so there's no creaking in the floor. I've never used those ones before. I've always used normal screws with the D4 glue, but I'm going to start using these. All right, and they got a torque head on them. All right. So let's set you up on a time lapse and get these all done. Right guys, welcome back to the second part of this little mini series on this sub deck frame. So I will run through exactly what I've done here on this sub deck frame, but you can see from the imaging that you can see all these solid bits of timber going the opposite direction to the joist. Now these are called noggins, so this helps stabilize the frame that you're putting in. And the reason why I put in so many is because I want to pick up every single tongue or groove part of the chipboard sheets when they connect together, okay? What I don't want is any undulation in these joists, even though these are regularized timbers, but do not, for the love of God, do not rely upon them getting them absolutely true to what they sell them at. So let's say, for example, you're buying some 4x2. Generally it says it's 50 by 100, but most of the time it comes out between 97mm and 95mm and 47mm and 45mm thick. Some of them even go even thinner. So I've even found when putting these joists in, some of them are 175mm in height, and some of them are 169, some of them are 170, some of them 173. So do not rely upon that. So the base is completely flat. So you can see, you might not be able to see it, but I'll show you in a minute. We got a 3-core sets of brickwork here with some telescopic bricks here, just to allow for the air to pass through underneath the floor. Then we've got a 9x2 plate on top, because what I've done, I've doubled up the brickwork on both sides, so it just gives a nice solid point to go to, especially with all the joists running through here. I just wanted them to bear on as much timber as possible. If I made them 4 inches, they would only just be bearing on by 45mm, and I don't like that. I like to bear on at least 150mm. So that's what I've done through here, and then you can see all the noggins running through. This center one is going to be picking up a stud work floor through there, but it doesn't really matter because these are at 400mm centers, and the chipboard that I'm putting on is a 22mm thick cable deck or cable shield. I can't remember which one it is, but it's water resistant. As soon as you sealed it, it's virtually waterproof, that stuff, guys. So as long as you get all the ends treated with the foam glue that they supply, and always go off what the manufacturer says. So for example, you don't want to put a normal timber screw in the cable deck shield stuff, because if anything fails on there, they will say, what screws have you used, blah blah blah, and then they say, well, you've used the wrong screws. You should use the ones either we recommend or the ones that they supply. So just keep an eye out for that. So right, anyway, we got back to the 9x2. They've all been half lapped. Okay, there's block work down there going through the middle, just two stacked on top of one another. Then I've got a DPM underneath the timber. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some foam and some mastic between there so no water can penetrate inside and track back through. All half lapped. Then you check to see if it's square. So the way you check it for square, especially on a big frame like this, you can just get your tape, I'll show you in a minute, and just go from corner to corner. And if it's exactly the same, you know, from that corner to that corner and that corner and that corner, it is square. But then what you need to do then is just to get all the ends straight. And you've seen how I've done that. You just set up a string line, pack it out to whatever you want. So I used some of the joist material, packed it up, strung a string line all the way to the end, and then just bring it up so it just touches that string line, and then you know you are 100% straight, or straight as you possibly can be. So now that it's all square, now it's all ready to go, the next thing is for me to do is to mark out to where the external stud work is going. So I know I'm using a 6-inch, and 6 inches is 150, but you can't rely on that. It's generally 145. So you come 145 in from the end, and then you have a 10mm spacing between your floor and the stud wall. So that's why I put these noggins on edge, just so it gives something solid for the timber to sit on, and also it helps with the start of the chipboard sheets as well. So I'll do that in a minute. I'm going to get all the chipboard sheets, stack them up over there, and I've got my new toy I'm going to play with. So this is the brand new Hilti plunge saw. It's the SC6WP-22 from the Neuron platform. I've already used it on the half lap cuts, sorry, and it just eats that timber like butter. So I'm going to see how it plays up against this really dense chipboard that I'm using. But I can imagine it's from Hilti. There's going to be no dramas there. It's just going to eat through that chipboard sheets. So the chipboard is all at the top there, underneath all that tarp. I'm going to bring it all over here, get that string line on, and let's get cracking, guys. Okay. Right now, guys, the subframe is all ready to go. I'm just cleaning off the top of this, and then we will start fitting the chipboard sheets on top of this stud deck. Let me go grab the screws and the glue. So this is the Egger glue, so joint and joist adhesive. This is the expanding foam glue I've been talking about. So you put a nice 10mm bead on your joists and on all the areas that you see that expose the chipboard. So you've got the groove side, and you've got the tongue on the other, and you've got the groove on the back. But because this is going to be a starting board, we don't need to put one there. What we do need to do is just put a 10mm bead for it to sit on. And then you're going to put 3 to 4 fixings on every joist. I'm probably going to go 4 because the screws are quite small. So they're only a 4mm head on there, torque head. And these are Spax ones, and they come with a torque bit as well for you to use. So that's what we're going to do here. And I'll just show you what I've done on the frame. So you can see this is the line here. That represents the 10mm spacing of the wall. So it's 145 to there, imagine, okay, on my tape, and then you have a 10mm margin. And it's the same on here as well with those noggins down there, just to pick up the edge of the chipboard sheet so they're not floating there. So it's not really structural as such, it's just there to pick up the ends of the boards so they don't drop there, okay, just in case. But you can float this 22mm chipboard over a 600mm span, so it's fine technically, but I always like to over engineer stuff. So tools I'm going to be using for this, obviously square, I've got a rail, and I've got the rail saw because I'm testing that here, and I've got extraction. Now I haven't got the Hilti extractor there, I'm just using that one because I've recently just bought that and I thought there's no need to get the cordless extractor as well. But I'd like to see how well the Hilti skill saw copes with this egger board, because it's quite dense. So let's give it a bash. Remember, ear protection. So I've already measured the first one back, it's 2 meters 288. So because I'm using a rail, I don't need to really mark up the edges all the way across, because I can just use the rail as a guide. So let's see what it's like with the first cut, shall we, guys? Now comes beautiful Hilti plunge saw. Right, to start off your boards, guys, always start off with the groove facing towards the back, and these boards come pre-stamped telling you which way the face is coming up. So the face on here is the face that I need to be faced up, and on the bottom of the boards it says this side down. So always do that, guys, okay? So there you go, guys, okay? That's the groove there, that's the start off piece. You can see my nice straight line there. So all I'm going to do is to take this off, glue it up, stick it down and screw it. But what I'll probably do is get the next board in, see where it lies, and then take it all off and glue the whole run in as a oneer for the first run, okay? Right, welcome back, guys. This is day 2 of fitting this chipboard. I didn't quite manage to get, I got halfway yesterday, which is kind of where I wanted to be, but it would have been nice to get a little bit closer to the end. Now, all I'm going to be doing for this part is, you've seen how to install one and how to install the first row. So all this part is going to be is generally flicking through from time lapse to other bits of time lapse, and right at the very end we'll do the final cut on the normal mode, and then see it all finished in its lovely bit of glory. So right, okay, let's set you up in a time lapse and start racking out these boards, guys, okay? Because I don't want the weather to close in on me today, so it's going to be a bit of a hit and miss with the rain here. All right, so let's Right guys, we are at the stage now where we're on the final row of these chipboard sheets. Now this is where that Hilti plunge saw really comes into its own, because you can get lovely long straight cuts as long as you mark it up correctly. That will do all the hard work for you, so you haven't got to try and follow it with a traditional skill saw. So I'm just going to show you that now, and then we're going to get the last one stuck, glued and screwed, and you can see the exact process, guys. Okay, all right. So I've already been down there and I know the exact measurement that we need. It's 510, between 510 and 508. So I'm going to go 508 all the way through the boards. And then all I'm going to do now is literally follow it with the plunge saw, guys, all right? Now you can see, you never ever run the joins in the same run. So what I mean is, this joint finishes over there, you don't replicate that joint down that end. So you always stagger them, guys, okay? Because otherwise, if you join them, have the joins running all the way down, it's effectively acting as multiple floors. It's not acting as one floor. You've got to almost like brickwork joint them, okay? So it forms an interlocking, it just all interlocks, guys, okay? So once it's interlocked, it's not going anywhere. As long as you've done your preparations correctly, it will not go anywhere. So a couple more jobs we've got to do, guys, is we've got to seal all this end grain and the chipboard using that foam glue, okay? And you just use it with a brush or a roller, and you need to get all the screw holes everywhere where you fixed. You've got to seal them as well with the foam glue. All right, and then that just gives you a nice, stable, and hopefully watertight seal, because you want the glue to seep up. So you see all that exposed glue, that's what you want. You want all that glue to seep up through, so you know that joint has got a full hard seal on there. All right, let's get that back here, give it a tap, another little tap. Right. Right, we've reached the fun part now, guys. We've just got to glue every single screw hole now. It's tedious, but it's got to be done. Any open joints, just give them a little bit of glue as well, just to fully seal it. That's it. So just make sure you glue every single one, guys, okay? Any micro joints that are open, like even that little bit there, even though it's a tight joint, just chuck some glue on there. And just make sure not to tread on it. The cameraman is Henry from Grey Shot Garden Maintenance, give him a shout out. He's been a star. Not sure about his brother though. You haven't turned it on, have you?
I'm in the video.
Yeah.
Turn it around.
That's right, mate. That's right.
Please put that on YouTube.
Put it on YouTube.
You're gonna.
That's part of your contract, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, self-promote, mate.
Self-promotion.
Got a word 25% of that.
25% of 5 pennies, mate, ain't a lot.
Still all adds up though.
There you go. Right, you can see from that portion of the video, guys, that I've gone along and I've sealed all the joints, all the little micro gaps in the joints, sealed all the screw holes, and now we've got to seal along the joint, the edge joints of the chipboard. So I mean edge joints, all these bits here, which is going to be tedious. You've got to cut the lid off and then paint it all on with a brush, make sure it's all sealed, and that effectively is a nicely sealed sort of watertight deck frame there. So let's just seal all that end grain there, guys. I reckon I've just got enough here to do the lot, which is good. No wastage. Woo! If we go just this end, and then I'll just tend to slap a bit on there. Alright guys, smear it all on there. Looks messy, but at least you know you've got into all the joint there. You know it's sealed. Cheers, Henry, for being my cameraman today. Have a little walk around. And so you can see all that foam coming up now, guys. Henry's showing you. You know that is sealed.